All right, folks. Today, I'm going to tell you about the most expensive mistake I keep running into when it comes to money. And I learned this not from a textbook, but from years of sitting in the market and watching real people's bank accounts. Most people don't lose their money by picking a bad stock or making some dumb crypto bet. No, the real wealth killer is something way more normal looking. Buying a bigger house than you actually need. Picture this. Two couples, same neighborhood, basically the same income. One of them says, "We'll grow into it. We'll need the space later," and stretches their budget to the max for a big 4-bedroom house with a huge yard. The other one says, "Let's just buy what we actually need right now," and goes with a modest 3-bedroom place. 10 years later, the couple in the big house is still drowning in mortgage debt, dealing with an aging roof, a dying furnace, and rising property taxes and insurance bills. The other couple already paid off their loan. They're taking summer vacations, and they've got hundreds of thousands sitting in retirement savings. They're already planning to retire at 58. Same city, same paycheck, completely different outcome. So how does that even happen? Because the bank telling you you can afford this loan doesn't actually mean you can comfortably carry that house. The monthly payment is just the part everyone sees. The real damage hides in the costs nobody talks about. The bigger the house, the bigger the property tax, the bigger the insurance, the bigger the utility bills. Every extra room needs furniture. Every extra yard needs landscaping. Every 20 years, there's a new roof. Every 15 years, a new HVAC system. Sure, small houses have all of this too, but in a big house, it's 2 or 3 times the cost. And on top of that, once you move into a bigger place, your old furniture suddenly looks not enough. Your couch disappears in the living room. Your yard looks empty. Even your car starts feeling like it doesn't belong in the driveway. So the house isn't just a roof over your head, it reflects a whole lifestyle onto you. And without even noticing, you start spending money to keep up with that lifestyle. I always call this the silent leak. You don't notice it, but it's draining your wallet every single month. And the worst part is, it never stops. Year 1, it's furniture. Year 2, it's landscaping. Year 3, it's let's fix up the guest room too, so more decor. Year 4, it's let's get a gazebo for the backyard. It always comes out of your pocket. You keep telling yourself, okay, this is the last one. We'll stop after this. But a bigger house always finds a new excuse. Because everything that didn't bother you in a small house suddenly feels missing once the house gets bigger. Now, let's look at the real numbers. Because I'm not against numbers. Numbers tell you everything. Say the price difference between the two houses is $200,000. And the difference in the monthly payment is around $700. But once you add up the difference in taxes, insurance, maintenance, and utility bills, that number can climb to $1,400 a month, about $16,800 a year. Now, if you invested that money instead and grew it at an average 8% return over 25 or 30 years, you know what you'd end up with? Over $1 million. So that $200,000 bigger house actually costs you more than $1 million in the end. You just don't see it because that money never went into an account. It never grew. It just disappeared in its ungrown state. And don't forget, home equity isn't liquid either. You can't touch that money without selling the house or taking out a loan. While an investment account gives you the flexibility to pull money out bit by bit whenever you need it. And if you look at history, home prices have grown about 4% a year on average over the long run, while the stock market has historically grown north of 10%. So a house is the safest investment sounds nice, but the numbers say something else. Let me push this even further. Don't forget the down payment gap either. Every extra $10,000 you tie up in the down payment for the bigger house also takes away the 20 or 30 years that money could have spent growing in an investment. So you're not just paying a bigger down payment. You're leaving $60,000 or $70,000 of your future self's money at the door. And on top of all that, taxes don't stay flat. Cities raise them every year as property values go up. So a $2,000 tax gap today can turn into a $5,000 or $6,000 gap 15 or 20 years from now, which makes the smaller house's advantage grow even bigger over time. The small house isn't just cheaper right now. It keeps getting cheaper, relatively speaking, while the big house just keeps getting more expensive. I've seen this play out over and over, man. I know so many people living in a beautiful, impressive house with maybe a few bucks sitting in their retirement account. Like, I've got this one friend, an engineer, makes good money, bought a big house at 35 because I've earned it. 10 years later when we talked, sure, the house went up in value, but he's still paying off debt. The roof's been replaced, the AC's been replaced, and on top of it, he switched cars twice just so it fits the neighborhood. When I asked him, "So how much did you actually put into your investment account over these 10 years?" there was a long silence. Because the honest answer was almost nothing. The house swallowed up everything he earned every single month. Meanwhile, another guy I know, earning less than him, stayed in a small apartment and consistently invested the difference. And now he's in a way more comfortable spot than my engineer friend. What I'm getting at is the income can be the same, the lifestyle can look the same, but the housing decision changes everything. Because a house isn't just an expense, it becomes the center that every other decision in your life revolves around. What car you buy, whether you can afford to travel, how much you can help with your kids' college, even how long you can put up with a job you hate. Because if the mortgage payment is too heavy, you can't just say, "I'm quitting to start my own thing." You lose that flexibility. While a smaller house plus consistent investing actually sets you free. It gives you the luxury to switch jobs, take risks, or even take time off. So here's my advice. Whatever the bank says you can borrow, set your real budget at 60 to 70% of that number. Don't squeeze yourself today just because you think we'll grow into it later, because that later usually never comes. What comes instead is just a bigger bill. Buy the house you actually need and put the difference into investments every single month. Automate it. The moment your paycheck lands, send that gap straight to your investment account. Don't even let it touch your hands, because money that touches your hands gets spent, and money you never see is the money that grows. Nobody's going to take a photo of your investment account and like it. I know that. Nobody's going to look at your index fund and say, "Wow, nice." Your neighbor isn't going to envy your portfolio. But when you turn 62 and ask yourself, "Do I have to keep working? Or am I working because I want to?" the only thing that's going to answer that question is that quiet, unflashy account. The house will still be sitting there, still demanding its taxes, still demanding its maintenance. The real question is this. On the day you chose that house, did you choose freedom or did you choose appearance? Make that decision today before you sign anything. Because the math doesn't lie, folks. The smaller house always wins.